Hi everyone. In this video we are going to learn what the London system is. So the London system is a queen's pawn opening that involves an early bishop to f4. And it does not involve a queen's gambit, so white doesn't play c4 in the London system. That pawn usually ends up on c3, although sometimes it does get blocked with knight to c3. Okay, the London system is a way to set up your pieces regardless of how black plays, so it's known as a setup, and it's often taught to beginners as an easy way to develop their pieces and get a solid position with very easy middle game plans. And for that reason, it's sometimes given a bad reputation. And I think that's because a lot of players learn it early as beginners and they continue to play it their whole lives, and they play it, kind of mindlessly in an uninspired way. And so they don't learn other opening theory. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the opening. There are grandmasters that play it. There have been books written about it, and it can lead to sharp positions and good attacking wins by white. So it is a possible system to incorporate into your repertoire. Now, it's normally going to result in a closed game, a very solid game for white, where white has no weaknesses and the position is closed. But as I said, it can become very sharp and white can get a strong kingside attack. The opening came into fashion in the 1922 London tournament as a way of meeting the hypermodern setups. But in recent years, you may have known that world champion Magnus Carlsen has been playing it. Although he doesn't normally play it in classical chess, he reserves it for both blitz and rapid. And I think that's because it is a solid system, but it doesn't really pressure black in the opening. It gives black a free hand to meet it in various ways, and it's just not a great way to strive for an opening advantage. But Carlsen does so well with it because he understands the positions arising from the system better than his opponents, and he's just a better middle game player. Since Magnus Carlsen has been playing it, its popularity has exploded. And so a lot of people are playing it now. You can find a lot of videos on YouTube about the London system. So I thought it was time that I sat down and actually studied it in detail. I'll look at it from the perspective of both white and black. For now, I think I want to learn ways of meeting it as black. I have never played it as white. I may get interested, though. I have seen some videos and learned some lessons where I was quite impressed with some attacking chances that white was able to achieve. So I may eventually try it out. Okay, so besides d4 and bishop f4, what else is white going to be playing? Well, white strives for the following ideal setup of his pieces. He's going to play in some order e3, knight f3, c3, knight b d2, bishop to d3, and castles. And this is the ideal setup that you can often get if black doesn't interfere. If black does interfere, you can get something close to this. So all of your minor pieces are developed. Your dark squared bishop is outside of your central pawn chain, so it's active. Your light squared bishop is well placed. And your queen is ready to come to c2 in some cases, creating a battery against h7 and connecting the rooks. All right, and to talk further about the plans here, sometimes white strives to push his e-pawn to e4, and notice the bishop and knight are already supporting that, and even sometimes it pushes to e5, and white gets some central space and his pieces start to come over to the king side. Also, sometimes this knight comes to e5 and opens the way for the queen to come to the king side for an attack. All right, so those are some of the basic, very basic ideas in the London system, which black can meet in many different ways. So we'll talk about actual theory and games in future videos. Thanks for watching the opener to this series.